Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into this edition of the Greene Room. I'm Garrett Greene. We're doing a Greene Room today for June 20th. Even though it is June 21st, we're obviously on a little bit of a tape delay due to certain constraints, games finishing late, sleep is kind of a necessity. So we're catching you up on everything from yesterday in sports while getting a couple of things about today. We're going to have a lot of great things going on from the NBA College World Series. We got some in the MLB scores, but we start off in the NBA today, where surprisingly, despite the fact that the season is over, quick reminder, the Dallas Mavericks, yes, they are marvelous still. They are still your 2010-2011 NBA champions, but a little bit of news regarding that team from South Beach they beat. Pat Riley, speaking in a 40-minute interview today, said that the Heat will, quote, compete and win multiple championships. So Pat Riley is still a believer in the Big Three. Also said that he is not going to come back to coaching, and that Coach Erik Spoelstra is going to be their head coach, and that he is, quote, a strong leader. And he also maintains, I found this surprising, that the Big Three coming to Miami was the, quote, greatest thing to happen in the history of South Florida sports. Then he quickly reconsidered and said, well, maybe that 1972 Dolphins team that went undefeated and actually won a championship was the greatest thing to happen in South Florida sports. So, Pat Riley, I realize that you're a great coach, but come on, man. You're calling three guys who got there and haven't won a championship yet. I realize it's only 1 year, but they haven't won a championship, and you're saying that that's the greatest thing to happen when you had the only team to go undefeated and win a Super Bowl in NFL history sitting there in your backyard? Come on, man. All right, anyway, on to other news. Dwayne Casey, the defensive assistant for the Dallas Mavericks this last year, you saw a lot of him in the NBA Finals over there waving his hands, being a defensive coordinator, kind of like in football, over on a basketball sideline. Well, he has moved on from the Dallas Mavericks. He is going to be the next head coach of the Toronto Raptors. He has agreed in principle. A deal should be released here within the next couple of days. And on to the NBA draft, the next major thing that's going to happen in the NBA. The Cavaliers had the number one overall pick after having one of the most horrendous seasons in franchise history, though they've had a few, so, difficult to say that. Shows you how much they miss LeBron. But they're still debating who they're going to take with the number one overall pick. It's reported that they're really considering Kyrie Irving, who everybody in the media agrees is the consensus number one, but there's still the chance that they could take Derek Williams with that number one overall pick. Now, if they do, Kyrie Irving would be taken number two overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. If they do take Kyrie Irving, though, Derek Williams will go number two to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Kyrie Irving and Derek Williams looks like they're going to be their 1 and 2 picks for the NBA draft. Now on to the guys in college playing right now for the World Series. The only game that happened yesterday was between Texas and North Carolina. Texas gets eliminated by North Carolina. They lose 3-0. Texas held to just 4 hits and a couple of outfield double plays turned by North Carolina on the Longhorns. So Texas knocked out of the College World Series for this year. North Carolina advances. And another one that just finished up a couple of minutes ago, Florida, after a rain delay, finishes the game up this morning. They beat Vanderbilt 3-1 to keep on advancing through the World Series. And another game going on today, an elimination game. It's between Texas A&M and California. You can catch that one at 2 o'clock on ESPN. Now on to Major League Baseball. The only real news that was going on happened a couple of days ago, where the Florida Marlins manager quit just before the day started. Well, they hire an interim manager, and actually their new manager, 80-year-old Jack McCann, who won the World Series for them back in 2003. He was brought in to try and turn these Marlins around. They have lost 10 straight going into last night, and 17 of their last 18. We'll pick up with the scores from last night's game. It was a close game. It was tied, or the Marlins actually led 1-0, but then in the 6th inning, the Los Angeles Angels get on the board, score a run, and then in the 8th, they score another run, and the Angels go on to win 2-1 off of 11 hits. Jared Weaver pitches in this one. He goes out and has a fantastic outing. I'm pulling up his stats right now, but if I'm not mistaken, he went 7 innings and only gave up 5 hits and the 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts. His ERA down to a 2.01 now. Now on to the other scores that were happening yesterday in Major League Baseball. Texas Rangers take on the Houston Astros. Rangers coming back home after a 10-game road stretch where they went 3-7. The Rangers beat the Astros by scoring 6 total runs over the first 2 innings. They go on to win 8-3. Mitch Moreland hits his 9th home run of the season, which they averaged at about 450 feet. Then they go back and change it to 472 feet today. That is the 3rd longest home run that has been hit by a Major League player this season. The Yankees beat the Reds 5-3 behind a great outing by Ivan Nova, and Mariano Rivera comes in and gets his 18th save of the season. Jason Giambi hits a 3-run home run, and that's necessary for the Rockies as they use a 6-run 5th inning to go on to beat the Indians 8-7. The Orioles score 5 runs in the first inning and go on to beat the Pirates 8-3. They advance now to 33-37 on the season. Pirates fall a couple of games below 500, 35-37 right now. The Red Sox scored 10 runs in the 7th inning as they go on to beat the Padres 14-5. And then an interesting game that happened last night. Interleague play is going on right now. So you have the Atlanta Braves playing the Toronto Blue Jays, and Tim Hudson goes out there, throws 8 scoreless innings, only gives up 2 hits. Oh, and by the way, hits his first home run and scores the only 2 runs of the game as the Braves go on to win 2-0. Tim Hudson does it all. 8 innings, scoreless game, only 2 hits. Great game for him. Now for the Chicago Cubs playing the Chicago White Sox, this was a game where Carlos Zambrano actually goes out. He gives up 3 runs in the first inning, but hangs in there, does a great job, and goes on and gets the win for the Cubs. They go on to beat the White Sox, the Southside rivals, 6-3. The Rays top the Brewers 8-4. As we mentioned, the Angels top the Marlins 2-1. That extends the Marlins losing streak to 11 straight, and now they have lost 18 of their last 19 games. So desperate looking to right the ship there in Florida. And to wrap it all up, last night the Dodgers go out and beat the Tigers. Clayton Kershaw strikes out 11 and has a 2-hit complete game shutout. As I said, the Dodgers go on to win 4-0. Hey, make sure that you check it out. We have an NBA Finals wrap-up. Derek Lewis joined me on the phone. 20 minutes of pure interview gold, if you ask me. Great insight from Derek Lewis. Even though he's a Spurs fan, gave great insight about the Dallas Mavericks. I want to say thanks to all of you for tuning in. Check out all the latest news. You can get it at ESPN.com, ESPNDallas.com for those of you looking to check out all the latest information about what's going on in DFW. Great stuff going on there. And make sure to listen in to 103.3 FM to hear all the latest great interviews. Ben and Skin had Dirk on this morning. It was great. They're interviewing Derek Holland right now. Check it out. It's a lot of great stuff going on. Until then, have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.